Okay? He'd spent the whole match, the age of 62, at the top of his game, trying to add a new skill. That's really what I'm talking about here with online recruiting, or excuse me, online networking. I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't continue to do networking the way you've always done it. But what I am suggesting is that in this environment, in this kind of financial environment where we may not be able to go to the kinds of meetings that we've gone to, we may not be able to have the kinds of career fairs that we've traditionally had, we need to use the power of online networking, relationship building. Now, you can do it three ways. You can do e-networking, and we don't have time to cover all three, so I'm just going to focus on e-networking. That's going to discussion areas, bulletin boards, chat areas, and interacting with other people. But there are other ways of doing relationship building. One is blogging. You know, the popular notion is that blogging is about some person going onto the web and ranting about Britney Spears or whatever he or she wants to write about. Blogging is really a dialogue. The best bloggers engage in conversations on the web with an ever-growing circle of friends and colleagues and companions. And therein lies its power, prospective power, as a networking tool. And then finally, what I call e-marketing. You all are sitting on top of the best resource for networking, and in most cases, I hope present company excluded, aren't using it. And that's your resume database. Run a test. Send an email message to every person in your resume database. If more than 10% of the addresses come back as invalid, you're not using your resume database efficiently. It is not an old-fashioned static stack of documents. It is a platform for building relationships with people. An aggressive e-marketing campaign to people who've already demonstrated that they are interested in your organization is a great way to build brand, to build an adjunct employee referral program. Why not have the people who are interested enough to apply for your company act as talent scouts for you if you'll just pay attention to them? Send them a message every now and then. Try to be helpful to them. You know, over the web it costs you nothing except a little time and effort, and it goes a long way to building familiarity and trust. But let's talk about e-networking. Are these things e-networking? Posting a company profile page on MySpace. You pick up HR Magazine or Workforce Magazine, everybody's all goosebumpy about, let's have something on MySpace or Facebook. I was just at a conference where NACE, the National Association of Colleges Employers, released the results of their latest survey. And guess what millennials are saying? Millennials, the people who are largely part of Facebook and MySpace. They are sick and tired of employers coming into their space, violating the culture, trying to recruit them. That's not why they're there. Okay, so in the beginning it was kind of fun. Ernst & Young was out there. It was kind of new and different. But now half the employers in the world are on MySpace or Facebook, and the people who go there to hang out with their friends don't like it. Secondly, searching for candidate information posted in Facebook. According to the surveys I've seen, at least about 35% of us go there and look for information about what people do in their spare time, how they describe themselves, and so forth. That may be okay for reference checking, but it is not networking. Building up an address book of contacts on a site like LinkedIn. Well, I've already told you that contacts aren't networking. Okay? Contacts are contacts, connections are connections, but at the end of the day, they do not build familiarity and trust. And then finally, you know, the fact that we're facile with IM and texting and so forth, again, in my opinion, is not networking. Here's what I think networking on the web is. It is the process of building work-related relationships with employment prospects using online communications. So that means it's got 4 elements. The first is it involves multiple steps. The second is that it involves communicating, ongoing communications using the internet. The third is that it targets very specific kinds of people. And the fourth is that it's designed to build relationships that will help us convey the value proposition of our organization as an employer. Bottom line, it is professional networking, not social networking. So let's talk a little bit about the proof behind what I've said, because I recognize that what I've just said is kind of controversial. There's lots of people who say, well, social networking is an important part of recruiting. But here are the data. Yahoo did a survey last year of 3,700 workers, and it was a cross-generational survey. Okay? And they went out and they asked people, why do you use social networking sites? Better than 8 out of 10 of Facebook people and 7 out of 10 of MySpace people said they keep in contact with their social network. 74% of MySpace and 63% of Facebook said to entertain myself. Ooh, these people need to get a life, but okay, that's why they're there. Okay? But look at this. Over half of the respondents said, I like to keep my personal and professional lives completely separate. Fewer than 1 out of 5 said social networking websites are a good place for professional networking. And even fewer said, I expect to use social networking site for job search. Now, here's the kicker. This was as true for millennials as it was for boomers. Fewer than 1 out of 4 millennials said they would ever consider putting a resume at a social networking site, because that's not why they're at a social networking site. So what we need to do is we need to find sites where they can go to and do professional networking. Now, I think that understanding generations is important in recruiting. But I also think it can lead us down the wrong path, because it stereotypes people. I don't think all baby boomers are the same. I don't think all Gen X's are the same. And I don't think all Gen Ys are the same. So I'm going to suggest that what you do is you acknowledge that those vertical silos exist, but that you focus on a horizontal cut. My proposition is that the best talent in all generations act the same. And there is some research data that would prove that. That rare skill holders and rare performers among the baby boom generation, Gen X and Gen Y have the same kinds of attributes, the very kinds of attributes that I have been talking about. And one of those attributes is that they recognize that employers today, even despite their best of intentions, cannot manage their careers for them. It's a little bit like physical fitness. We all recognize that we are individually responsible for our own physical health, and we have to work on it every single day. Well, the same is now true of one's careers. You are individually responsible for your career. You have to work on it every single day. So people are looking for a place where they can do that. And the internet has become the place of choice. And the way they do that is by professional networking. So where does it happen? Well, I would suggest it happens in 4 places on the web. 2 of them are restricted and 2 of them are unrestricted. The restricted areas, professional and trade associations. Okay? Lots of the best talent join their professional or trade association. How can you connect with them? Well, you can go to the American Society of Association Executives, ASAE. Their website is asaenet.org. They have an association gateway of over 8,500 US-based associations that you can search absolutely free. Now, I said to you earlier that I'm in the business of publishing guides to these job boards, and we actually have a guide to association websites that will tell you which association websites have a place where you can go and network with their members and which associations do not. We cover about 1,900 associations in the US in that guide. Why is it a restricted site? Because in most cases, you have to join the association in order to get into the site to be able to do the networking. So it's restricted because you have to pay the dues. Okay? Another place you can go is alumni organizations, because colleges and universities have finally figured out that if they don't keep their alumni employed, they aren't going to give money to the school. So increasingly, the Alumni Association is now hosting networking areas on the alumni site where people can advance their careers.